Good morning, Carolina Village. Thank you for joining me for today's session of the Village Vitality series. My name is Aline, and today we'll be practicing power poses. So, the idea behind today's class, I was actually inspired by a wonderful TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. If you haven't seen it, she's a social psychologist that talks about the effect that power poses have on our mental, physical, social, all of those aspects of wellness, and how we perceive ourselves and therefore operate in the world. And so I've combined some of what she's done through her research with different power positions to bring that into our yoga practice today. And what that'll do for you is help with this feeling of fierce determination. So that was my goal for today's class, is to help empower you for anything that you're feeling helpless with in your life right now, or anything that you feel like you can't overcome. And so we'll be focusing on that today. And as a byproduct of that, we'll be strengthening the legs quite a bit, the hips, opening into the hips, strengthening the arms and shoulders. Okay, so you'll notice my setup for today. We've got the mat on the longer edge here. So go ahead and adjust if you need to, if you had your mat set up the other way. Don't worry if you don't have a mat. It's totally optional. I've also got my blocks just in case I want them for some of our forward folding movements and side to side movements. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Scooting back in your chair, we'll be doing a breathing technique called Ujjayi Pranayama today. Ujjayi is conqueror's breath. It's a really good balancing breath, so both energizing and calming. So it kind of has the effect of both to bring your mind into a sense of balance or evenness. Also, remember this one is great for back pressure with that sound that we create when we breathe will increase the amount of oxygen coming in and the amount of CO2 exiting the lungs. You also might notice you're going to cough more afterwards. It's a great breathing technique to bring phlegm and dust and other things we don't want in the lungs out. So scooting back in the chair for support. I cue this today because of a little visualization that we'll be working on. So it'll help you focus so you're not so focused on posture that you're not able to do everything. So hands can rest in the lap, or arms can dangle by the sides, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And even though you're supported in the chair, see how open you can be in the chest and the ribs. So try not to let that kyphotic forward folding posture come into place, rounding of the shoulders. See if you can open out, maybe even take a couple shoulder rolls here. And focus really on pressing down and back in that shoulder roll. All right. Start to settle in here. Start to notice all the points of contact with the feet on the floor, the hips and thighs and back in the chair. And allow yourself to just settle in a little bit more, feeling that support. And begin to turn your focus to your breathing. Observing the flow. Observing how it feels coming into the nostrils. And to begin our breathing technique, we'll inhale through the nostrils and exhale through the mouth, making a sound. Ha. So do that for several rounds. Inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling through open mouth. As you try to extend that ha, notice the abdominals engage. And if they're not engaging, see if you can, I don't want to say force that engagement, but see if you can activate yourself with awareness. So inhaling, exhaling, and especially towards the end of that exhale, feeling that engagement. When you feel ready, if you feel ready, you'll continue with that breathing technique, but close the mouth, still making the ha sound with that constriction in the throat, but inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. So it'll sound a little bit more like ocean waves. This breathing technique is sometimes called ocean breathing for that reason. So it's as if you're still making that ha sound, but the mouth is closed. As you focus here on your breathing, don't lose sight of the posture. Open chest, relaxed shoulders, relaxed face. Continue with your Ujjayi breathing. And as you do so, begin to think of something that you need to bring fierce determination to in your life. Perhaps it's a goal that you haven't been able to achieve. Perhaps it's a trait or a habit that you would like to either create or get rid of. Perhaps it's a fear that you would like to conquer. Whatever it is for you, bring it to mind. And then begin to actually visualize yourself doing this activity, accomplishing this goal, overcoming this fear, whatever it is for you. Imagine with as much detail as you can, seeing yourself, how your hair's styled, what you're wearing, where you are. Performing this goal or trait or whatever it is that you brought to mind. See yourself succeeding with as much detail as you can, still with your Ujjayi breathing. Feeling that engagement in the abdominals on exhale, that space of the solar plexus. In our yoga, this is the house of our third chakra, Manipura, or City of Gems, translated to English. As you breathe and feel that engagement, as you visualize yourself with fierce determination, start to resonate a little bit more with that space of the solar plexus between the navel and the rib cage. Maybe even feeling a heat or a warmth building there. And as you're visualizing yourself with fierce determination, power, and strength, succeeding in whatever goal that you have set, See that space of the solar plexus as a glowing yellow light. And that light fills your body. Your center of power is already there within you. You don't get power to overcome bad habits, to reach goals from external sources. It's not about, oh, if I only had the right equipment, if I only had more time, if I only had whatever. That puts you in the role of a victim that you'll never escape from. So instead, focus on that internal power. It's all about your will and your determination to overcome. And when you're ready, you can release the visualization. Try to stay with the breathing. And begin to bring yourself to the edge of your chair. And if you need to release that breathing technique, go for it. Never want to do something that doesn't feel right to the body. But as you come to the edge of the seat, perhaps still with your Ujjayi breathing, just find a good alignment here. The knees are hip width apart and the ankles are under the knees. And you can still, again, maintain that breathing if you would like, but we'll begin with some neck movements. You can open your eyes or keep them closed. Drop the right ear to the right shoulder. And then chin to shoulder. Lift that head up, turning as far as you can to the right, and then come back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin towards the left shoulder. Lift that chin up, and then back to center. And before we move through that again, let's just drop the chin to the chest for a breath or two. Inhaling up. Let's go through that a few more times. So right ear to right shoulder, chin to right shoulder. Chin lifts parallel to the ground, head to center. Left ear to left shoulder, chin to left shoulder. Chin lifts and back to center. Drop the chin to the chest. Feel that chest rising up to meet the chin with each breath. And on an inhale, lifting up. One more cycle here. Right ear to right shoulder. Chin to right shoulder. Chin lifts. Head to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin to left shoulder. Chin lifts. And head to center. One more time to drop that head forward. Keep the length in the spine. Don't let the shoulders round forward. And notice that chest rising towards the chin, perhaps even touching. And when you're ready, inhaling the head to center. Working with our first power posing, combining it with cat and cow spinal tilts. So you'll be working with either a Y position. If that's accessible to you, this is definitely the most powerful and the most strengthening to the shoulders and arms. Or if that's not manageable, try a T position. And if even that's not manageable or doesn't feel good, try a W position with the arms. So for that, we'll be opening into cow. So pressing the chest forward, pushing the hands back, whether you're in the T or the W, same deal, or the Y. So belly, chest, collarbones, chin lifts, all of that moves forward on your inhale. And on your exhale, make fists with the hands, elbows move into that space of the solar plexus, abdominals engage and scoop out. Maybe that Ujjayi breath. Inhale again to either your Y, T, or W. And exhale. Keep breathing like this. I'll move to demonstrating the T with the next couple ones and then the W. So this is our T, cat and cow. Still opening the chest. And our W, cat and cow. And maybe you want to move through all three and feel the body in those different positions. Feel which one is the most empowering for you. One more breath. And on your next inhale, just coming back up to center. To keep working with power and strength, let's do transverse abdominis twists. So these are our deep abdominal twists, that layer that acts as a girdle around the body, the deepest layer of abdominals if we peel all the other layers away. And so also, of course, we're working obliques, I should mention as well here. So exhaling to the right, again, maybe that Ujjayi. Exhale, inhale to center. Exhale left. Inhale center. If the shoulders are way too fatigued from the Y, cat and cows, bring the hands to a prayer position. Anjali Mudra, which is a hand mudra, or intentional hand position, tapping into the heart. So exhaling as you twist, feeling that powerful engagement. So as I twist to the left, I'm feeling this tightening and engagement to that side. It might not happen naturally. I might have to kind of force it. And that's where that powerful Ujjayi exhale really helps. If your shoulders were tired and you've done the Anjali Mudra hand position, try coming back to the elbows. Let's do 2 more twists to each side. Staying upright, lifted through the crown of the head. Last twist. Whew. And relax those arms. Maybe roll the shoulders out if you need to. We'll move on with some toe taps with an optional power move with the arms. So if I'm going to do arms, I'm going to take that left arm actually up. And as I tap out with the right leg, I'm going to open that arm to a T position. So I'm going up or just to the Y if you can't bring it straight overhead, and then T as I tap out. So this is working your coordination and also incorporating that power move. So of course we're getting strengthening in the shoulder and the arms as well. If you can't do the arm, or if you start to get too tired, drop that arm down by the side. Might want to exhale as you tap out, inhale as you come in. Or if you're moving a little faster than you're breathing, Just make sure you're breathing regularly. It doesn't have to match the movement, although that can be extra powerful in terms of strengthening mind-body connection and the intention and purposeful movement behind the exercise. Woo! You guys feeling it yet? Getting into the hips, the shoulders. All right, as you open out, relax that arm down. Keep that leg out to the side. And we're just going to shift into a little stretch here to the side, possibly getting into the groin and the hip. Let's take that left arm, swing it down in front of you, and then around and reaching overhead here. And to do a little bit of opening in the chest, let's open that arm any amount. You don't have to turn your head up to the ceiling like I'm doing. You can just keep the gaze forward. And then release that chest opening. Open again. And release. Last time. And release, swing that arm down and slowly come up. Go ahead and bring that right leg back to center. We're going to lean back just a little bit, straighten that right leg out. So you don't want to be dumping weight into the shoulders. See, notice how I'm in that rounded position. I want to stay lifted in the chest. I want to be lifting up and out of the hands. So even though I am putting weight in them, I'm not sinking down. I'm lifting up. Core is engaging lightly here. You're going to lift that leg up. We're combining ankle and hip circles. So I'm turning those toes out to the side as far as I can, and then circling down as I turn this hip back to neutral, circling in or rotating in with the hip as I bring the toes in. So really the hip is following what the foot is doing. So rotating out, circling in and down. Again, a little tricky for the mental mind-body connection. But we got to challenge ourselves to see improvement. And life would be really boring, I think, without any challenges. And notice how I'm moving my toes quite a bit. I'm kind of spreading them apart, pointing. So just trying to work that as much movement as you can in the ankle, the foot, and the toes. One more circle. We're not going to reverse directions. Since we're hitting all of the angles here. And release that foot down. Shake out those legs if you need to. We're going to toe taps with the left side. So sitting up tall, chest open, shoulders down, right arm comes up if you're doing the arms. And as you tap out, that right arm comes just out to a T. No need to lower it any lower than that. And up and in, out and out, up and in, out and out, up and in. And again, you might exhale, inhale. Nice. I don't know if you can hear me breathing. I'm trying to breathe extra loud so that you can hear that coordination. Keep going. You can always drop the arm down by the side if it starts to get too tired. But keep in mind, a burning sensation here across the top of the shoulder is a good thing. It means that your muscles are working so hard that they can't clear out the lactic acid buildup, which is a byproduct of the muscles working, burning energy, i.e. calories, and strengthening the muscle tissue. So try to stick with it if you can, as long as you don't have any sharp shooting or pinching pains. That burning sensation is fine, even though it might not feel great. 2 more. Last one, hold that leg out to the side, Relax that arm down. Go ahead and move into your little side bend. And I totally forgot to mention you could absolutely use a block here. Instead of elbow on the thigh, you could have hand to a block on the inside of that leg. I actually prefer elbow on the thigh because I feel like it helps me kind of push out that knee and get a better stretch. So circle that right arm down and around and overhead. You might stay here, or you might want to try to open. Again, the neck doesn't have to look up. That's just traditionally what's done in your yoga practice. You kind of follow the hand with your eyes. But that could crane the neck, pretty uncomfortable. One more open. And swinging that arm back, down in front, coming up, shaking it out, bringing that leg back to center. We're straightening it out. Hands come back behind you for support. Remember, not sinking in, but lifting up and out. Lift that left leg just slightly, enough so that you can have free movement when you rotate. If you need to have that foot down, that's fine, that works too, but you just will have a little bit more trouble rotating the ankle. So turning the hip and the toes out to the side. Circling down, bringing that hip back to center, and then a slight internal rotation of the hip as you turn those toes in. And again, you're trying to work as full of a range of motion as you can in the toes, the ankle, the hip. So I'm not sure if I mentioned at the beginning of class, keep lifting. I noticed I started sinking. That we're really getting into hip strengthening and opening today. It's an area that typically people do not want to go on their own, but it's such an important area. We hold so much tension, stress, tightness, and weakness in the hips. We got to address it. If you want to have healthy movement patterns and quality of life when you perform just everyday activities, we got to do it. Y'all are ahead of the curve joining in on this class. One more circle. Even if you can't do even half of these exercises, you're still getting good benefit here. So coming back to center, make sure that you're at the edge of your seat. You're rooting down through the feet, rooting down through the hips. We're going to start our first vinyasa sequence. Lifting up through the crown of the head. Let's inhale those arms up. And exhale to take your fold forward, keeping length in the spine as long as you can, deciding what you want to do with the arms, whether they stay up or come out like I did, or trace down the thighs. Releasing into that forward fold. Remember your options if you have vertigo or any other condition that makes it extremely uncomfortable for your head to move below the level of the heart, then stay like how I am right now, maybe even with hands on the thighs. Or if you have blocks, hands on your blocks to keep that lift. But if you are able to, very much recommend releasing that head and neck down. That extra weight tractions and lengthens out the spine. And remember your block options, different heights, as well as different positions. So possibly reaching them out in front of you to even lengthen more. If you're using blocks and you're in a similar position to where I am, start to walk those blocks in. Maybe set them again to the sides of your chair if that's accessible. Start to come up. So hands come to the thighs. Try to lengthen the spine as quickly or as early on in your lift as you can. So we don't want to stay in this rounded position and round up. We want to try to open the chest, open the belly down towards the thighs. That's going to engage the back more, keep the spine in good positioning, and support us as we lift up. Good. For our back bend work, let's bring those arms out to the sides, elbows bend. You're not rounding forward here. We're just going to squeeze the hands and elbows towards each other and then come into a W arm position back bend. So I call it just a W back bend. So elbows kind of pushing out and also squeezing together at the same time. Shoulder blades squeeze together, belly, chest, ribs, and chest open forward, chin lifts. Let's exhale, squeeze. Inhale, back bend. Similar to cat and cow, except we're not moving into that flexion position of the spine. One more time. And relax. All right, so to continue on, keep the feet rooted down, hips rooted down. Inhale those arms out in front of you. Keeping length in the spine. We're going to just start to tilt back until you feel those upper abdominals engage. You might even feel it down towards the navel as well. And then come back up. So exhale, tilt back. Inhale, up. Remember, we're trying not to round. And if those arms are getting too tired, you can have hands on the thighs. Should really feel that engagement, again, at the base of the ribs, maybe even down to the navel. Maybe even further, just really depends on the individual. We should not be feeling strain in the back. So that probably means you're rounding. Try not to tilt so far back if you're feeling a lot of strain. It's strain here is okay, but not in the back. You might feel shakiness. The abdominals shaking. That's normal. Couple more times. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that shake towards the end of my hold. Last tilt. Come up. Let's tilt back again. This time hands come back for support. Now we're going to focus. We're engaging lightly now, even with hands back, the upper abdominals. We're going to focus on the lower quadrant with the next movement. So straightening out that right leg, lifting it as high as we can. We're going to open out to the side and come back to center. Oh, I hate myself for this one. Just kidding, I don't. But you might feel like this is a little bit torturous. The lower your leg is, the easier it will be. You can even drag that leg along the ground and make it a little bit more about the hip engagement, because the reason why it feels like torture is we're engaging our abdominals and our leg and all these muscles in the hips and inner thighs. Try to press those shoulders down. Keep that chest open. Oh yeah, Andrew's supposed to breathe here too. Maybe that Ujjayi breathing. Inhaling center, exhaling. Inhaling center. 2 more. Last one. And send that foot down. Whew, come up. Try to root that foot down. So I'm really just kind of rotating at the ankle, bringing that foot down. And then I'm going to open this left leg out as well. So, and I might shift in the chair, just get the hips into a comfortable and supported position in our warrior 2 at the base of the body here. So I just want to make sure that my knee is over the ankle of this left leg. and that I'm trying to straighten that right leg as much as I can. And I'm trying to get the feet on kind of the same line here. It's okay if this foot's a little more forward. That will just, again, depend on your hip flexibility. Okay, so from here, lifting up, let's get those power arms going. Arms out. And we're going to work with transitioning here, strengthening the back and the core and the arms. And the legs, because we're holding this position. So you're going to start to reach forward. Elbow comes down, sweep that right arm down, up and around like we did earlier in class in our groin stretch. Pretty much the same positioning here. On an inhale, open up. Now, right hand comes to hip or chair, left arm comes up, and then moving into kind of a back bend, side bend. Inhale up. Exhale, what's called extended side angle. Inhale up. And exhale, what's called reverse warrior. And inhale up. One more time, trying to go one long exhale for this movement. One long inhale to come up. One long exhale for your back bend. One long inhale to come up. All right, release those arms down. Right hand comes to hip now. Left hand is going to come to the chair right behind and kind of under your hip. If you can, you're pressing into that hand, trying to lift away from the chair. So right now my hips are not touching the chair, but my hand is here for support. Depending on your height, depending on how wide of a stance you're in, you might not be able to reach that chair very well. So just do your best. You don't want to be like leaning way back. And if you have a block, you may want to bring that block to the chair under your hand. And so from here, we're just going to straighten that front leg, but not lock it out. And lean forward until you feel that stretch. So this is our triangle pose. And then we're going to come up and bend back into that powerful warrior two pose. Straighten, bend forward. Come up and bend into the knee. One more time if you can. You can do this same bending and straightening and leaning sitting in the chair as well. All right, last triangle. Let's hold it here if it feels okay to you. And maybe send that right arm up. Now you got a couple options if you're pretty flexible and you have a block. You can bring that block to the inside of the foot. This is going to test your balance though, so if you're flexible but balance is an issue, then stay with that hand on the chair. You can just bend that elbow to accommodate for more of a reach forward. When you're ready, you're just going to come up a little bit, bring those hips back to the chair, and relax. Legs come back to center. Shake it out if you need to. Let's do that on the other side. So finding Tadasana, setting your foundation with your feet, rooting down through the hips. Inhale those arms up. And exhale, fold forward to your Uttanasana or forward fold. Releasing here, maybe rolling out the shoulders. Turning the head side to side and all around. Or any other movements that feel good to you to just release and allow yourself to sink a little further into this fold. Taking several breaths here. And to come back up, you'll start to lift the head and shoulders. Try not to keep the head lifting like this. We don't want to jerk up with the back of the head. We want to keep that gaze down. Hands can come to the thighs. Engage the back as early on in the lift as you can. And moving back to our back bend sequence. Elbows squeeze together. Back bend in your W position. Elbows squeeze, but we're not rounding forward at all. So this is stretching the back, strengthening. Exhale. Inhale. Shoulders down. It's very tempting to squeeze them up to the ears. It's just kind of a natural holding pattern for, I would say, the majority of people that I've worked with. Definitely. I would say like 70% at least. Last back bend. And exhale, release. All right. So moving on with more of our, what I call rocks, ab rocks. So we're arms in front. We're keeping the long spine, tilting back, back, back until we feel all this light up. And then coming forward. Or just coming back up. We're not leaning forward. Rock back. Oh yeah. And come up. Rock back. And up. Remember, the most important thing here is to keep the spine long, keep the chest lifting, ribs lifting, not how far back you can go. I'm not impressed if you can touch your chair with your shoulders if you're doing this. Okay? So length, length, length. Oh, feel those abs engage. Really press into the feet, press into the hips. Even those legs are active here. Arms, of course, are active. Remember, hands can come down to the thighs or even behind you if you need a little support, especially if you feel that you start to round here. Bring those hands behind you. You'll still get some abdominal engagement. All right, try 2 more tilts, or rocks. Last one. Oh, got that good shake in. And release those arms down. Now rock back again here. Trying to lift up, not using the arms very much at all if you can help it. This leg lifts. You should feel that light up the lower abdominals and, of course, across the top and hip crease here. And you're going to open out and center. Ooh. I love you guys. I promise. I know this feels like, what is she doing to us? It's all about the power, y'all. All about the determination, strength. Such a good move for so many different muscles. Oh, remember, you can drag that heel to make it a little bit easier, although still probably challenging. We're trying for 2 more. Last one. Hold it out and send that foot down. Come on up out of that lean. Try to root that foot down. So I'm pressing down into the sole of that foot. I'm going to open out this leg. And, you might want to adjust a little in your chair so that you feel. You might want to adjust your feet from where they were. You want to feel very spread out, yet rooted down at the same time. So let's take an inhale to lift those arms, warrior 2. One thing I do want to mention, very common to let this knee move forward from my ankle. Not so great for the knee. We're not putting weight into that foot, so it's not going to really hurt you bad, but try to engage this outer thigh and pull that knee so it's in alignment with the ankle. And remember, we're exhaling, elbow down, left arm sweeps down, extended side angle. Inhaling, warrior two. Exhaling, reverse warrior. Inhaling, warrior two. Exhaling, extended side angle. Inhaling, warrior two. Maybe that Ujjayi breathing here. I tend to stay in Ujjayi my entire yoga practice, but I have built up to that. So that's why I'm kind of incorporating it in some of our more challenging sections here, trying to encourage you to bring it back. So eventually you can do your entire practice with that breathing, regardless of what breathing technique we start the class with. On your exhale, relax those arms. This right hand comes to the seat of the chair. Possibly here you're going to bring a block into play. But you're pressing into that hand, lifting those hips away from the chair. So I might want to slide that block in. Reposition the feet here if you feel way too spread out or if you want to widen the stance. It's up to you. And so from here, left hand to the hip, we're just trying to straighten that front leg, lean a little bit until you feel that stretch, inner thigh and back of the thigh. And then come back to your warrior two position. So keep in mind, you may be in a much shorter stance, but you're doing the same thing. Just make sure that knee doesn't move beyond the toes. We never want to put that much strain in the knee joint. Okay, the next time you move into that triangle, let's stay here. Maybe lifting that left arm up. I'm going to move back into my little deeper, slightly deeper position. And on an inhale, when you're ready, come back up. Release those hips to the chair. Relax those legs. We're almost ready to come to standing. Just want to do a little bit of goddess work here before we come up. So we worked on single toe taps. We worked on leaning back. We're going to combine those all together with a very special sequence. And it's basically double toe taps. So you have two options. One, if you're up for the challenge, is holding this tilt position and doing your double taps. Good stuff. Actually, you have three options. One is just one arm to take a little bit less intensity, and the other is to have both arms back behind you. So either way, you're double tapping, okay? So decide how you want to go. Maybe bring back to mind that visualization of you achieving whatever it is you needed, that willpower, determination, fierce determination for. You're visualizing that again as we move through this exercise, because we're going to try to do this about 30 seconds. So it's not about how many times you do it, but how long. So tilting back, and we're opening and closing, and breathing, and maybe visualizing. Perhaps that Ujjayi pranayama here. Halfway. Remember, those hands can come behind or one hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tap out. Woo! Nice job. Open those knees out any amount more. Coming to a seated goddess position. Knees in line with ankles, toes Angling out, you might not have as much turnout. So they might be at more of like a 45-degree angle. That's fine. But see how close to in line with the mat you can get it. Inhale those arms up. And exhale what we call cactus arms. And straighten out. And let's see if we can just take a couple breaths, opening or lifting. Power position, cactus, straighten. 2 more times. Lift, just breathing regularly. Cactus arms, straighten. Last time. And release those hands down. Hands come to the tops of the thighs. I like to press out and a little bit back. And just see if you want to lean forward at all. Stretching into the hips, inner thighs. Yeah, those are the main areas. Probably feeling it a little more as well in other areas. Trying to keep those shoulders down. And let's get ready to come up. We've just got a little bit more strengthening balance work when we come up. If you've got any energy left, let's stick with it. So coming up through chair pose, perhaps with your block between the thighs, or if you can't come out of your chair with no hands, without pressing or without heavily leaning forward, then I want you to just come out of the chair not doing chair pose, okay? But otherwise, walk those feet in. Maybe again, that block is between the thighs. Arms come forward, lift up, hold here for a couple breaths. Maybe hands come to the chest, because there's enough to think about in that lower body. And slowly inhale to straighten up. When you're ready, you can hang out there longer if you want to. Relax those arms, shake it out. Let's come back behind the chair. You might want to move that chair forward if you are using a mat. And we're going to work more with Goddess. So I'm facing my chair, and I'm just going to walk those feet out as wide as I feel comfortable. So thinking of that power stance, Wonder Woman, this exact stance is what Amy Cuddy was using a lot in her research and testing. We're going to do something similar, but we're just angling the toes out. And so from here, we're going to bend those knees, lift a heel, lift the other heel, and straighten. Easy, right? So bend. Again, make sure you're not letting those knees knock in. Really got to engage the butt, the outer thighs. Open up those knees. Lift, lift, and straighten. Come down, lift, lift, and straighten. You can make this harder by coming down further. So you can come down until those thighs are parallel with the ground. I don't recommend it, but you can if you need more challenge. Couple more. Straighten, or lift, lift, and straighten. Remember, we're trying to use the chair as little as possible. We don't want to be heavily leaning forward. We want to be stacked. 2 more times. I know those quads are burning, but remember what I said about burning. It's our friend, even though it might not feel that way. 1 more time. And straighten. Okay, try to keep the feet there. Maybe working with those quads a little bit, that burning sensation. Our final pose here is just holding goddess for balance. So you're going to come down. Instead of lifting heels or anything like that, we're just going to hold here. Maybe sending one hand, maybe both. If you feel really confident here, because we're in a wider stance, you can even bring those arms out to the sides or up overhead or back and forth. So incorporating movement, if you've got really good balance, is going to challenge you a little more. Ooh, keep breathing, y'all. Ujjayi breathing. Core is engaged. Glutes are engaged. Everything's engaged. Working on that balance. So remember, you can maybe lift one hand, both hands, maybe alternate. All right, slowly straighten up. And you made it, guys. Let's stretch out a little bit. So maybe heel toeing those feet in, shaking out those legs. If you can manage it, if you can grab a pant leg or your ankle or foot, this is going to be the most beneficial quad stretch for you. So want to grab that right foot, press forward through the right hip until you feel that nice stretch across the top of the thigh. If you can't grab that foot, don't worry about it. You can try this version. I'm just going to move my chair back so I'm not out of camera. Where you come around to your chair. So again, same thing, right leg, except you're bringing the shin to the chair. And again, pressing forward into the hip. And that should get you a little stretch in the quad. So hang out here a couple more breaths. Thanking your legs for their strength. Or if you didn't feel very strong doing any of that, thanking your legs for the hard work to become stronger. Go ahead and release that quad stretch, and you're going to do the other side. So if you're putting the foot in the chair, you're just going to come to that other side, get that shin in the chair, and hold like so. If you're able to, though, you're going to grab that foot, ankle, or pant leg and try to press forward through that hip. And we'll do one more little stretch in our chair. I probably shouldn't say little because it's a big sensation stretch. It's our seated pigeon pose. And then we'll relax, y'all. On an exhale, release that stretch. Come on down to your chair. Remember your options with pigeon. Either way, you want to be to the edge of the seat. You're going to cross ankle over ankle and lean forward until you feel that stretch. Or if you can, you'll get more benefit out of crossing ankle over thigh. Even if that knee is like up into the chest. As long as you feel a stretch here, it doesn't really matter where the knee is. And so you're just hinging forward until you hit that sweet spot. And you're trying to release here as much as you can. So you're going to want to tense the jaw. You're going to want to scrunch up the face. Try to relax all of that. Try to relax the shoulders. We want to let the body receive the stretch as much as we possibly can. This one is so beneficial for the hips and the back. If you have sciatica and it's not caused by spinal stenosis, maybe it's caused by tight musculature, this should be your new best friend that you visit every day. Slowly come up, switch legs. Take your time. You might notice one side is tighter than the other. That's very common. For me, my left side is much tighter. I can't get the knee down as much nor fold forward as much. Maybe come back to that last couple Ujjayi breaths. Just relaxing here, thanking your body, thanking yourself for all this hard work you put forth in this class today, and getting ready for final relaxation. So remember Shavasana, or maybe you're hearing this for the first time. Come up when you're ready. Shavasana is a critical posture. Don't skip out on this, even though it looks like, oh, she's just going to lay in her chair for 3 minutes. This is where your body integrates the whole practice. All of the hard work we did, all of the working the mind-body connection, it all sinks in and settles in this pose. So you might want to lay down on your couch. You might want to lay on the floor. You might want to just lean back in your chair or move to an armchair or a more comfortable chair. But you want to try to release the body as much as possible. So I let those knees kind of fall open. Make sure I'm not engaging my glutes. Don't worry so much about posture here, although you don't want to be totally caving forward. So that may mean you're a little higher up in your chair if it's kind of causing you to do this. So try to stay open but relaxed. If you're laying down on the couch or your bed or the floor, try laying with the arms slightly away from the body, palms up. Close those eyes. Maybe taking 3 breaths of release here. So deep inhale. Exhaling 2 more times. Gathering up all the tension in the body on that inhale, and on your exhale, letting it go. 1 more time. And then releasing any breathing or holding patterns. You're not trying to control the breath in any way, just letting it do its natural thing. Eyelids are closed. Face is relaxed. Perhaps bringing awareness back to that space of the solar plexus. The whole area between the navel and the rib cage. Our seat of willpower, transformative fire, fierce determination. Often weakness in this chakra can manifest as butterflies in the stomach, that sense of nervousness, of unease, where you're not trusting your own power and ability. Trust, strength. It's all there. We just have to tap in and receive. And practice. Feel that warmth. See that yellow, bright glow in this space. As you take a few more breaths here, see that glow of yellow spread down to the toes, up to the head, out to the fingers. filling your entire being with this transformative fire. And you can remain still and relaxed here for a little longer. Or you can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, just bringing small movements back. Starting to make those movements bigger and intuitive. So just take your body where it feels like it wants to go. In terms of waking back up. And if you can, you're going to make your way to an upright seated position. Drawing the palms together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. May this power that is ever present within you shine out through every thought, every action, and every word. Namaste. Thank you all again for joining me today. I hope that you feel that sense of power. Again, even if you weren't able to do more than a quarter of what I proposed in the class, just the mental, physical, emotional work that you did today will hopefully give you that sense of fierce determination that we were looking for. Thanks again. If you have any questions or comments, reach me on the hub or by calling the front desk and getting my info. I'll see you all next time. Bye.